How's it? Welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about a meditation technique where we are trying to pay attention to what's happening behind our closed eyes as our object of attention for the meditation. And so for me, I primarily use this as a way to get the stage 1 of sleep hypnagogia, consciously or lucidly aware. So when I'm doing it, most of the time, I am specifically trying to fall asleep during this process. So I'll be reclined or lying down in my bed. But this is also a well-established, more normal type of meditation technique where you're doing it sitting up, specifically trying not to fall asleep. But no matter which way you take it, the approaches to doing it are basically the same. So how do you do it? So really, it's simple. It's as simple as this. It boils down to closing your eyes and trying to find something behind your closed eyes that catches your attention that you can lock your awareness to. And if you pay attention, it's basically never uniform pitch blackness. Like you could even be in a sensory deprivation tank or like a float tank where it's all blacked out, or be in a blacked out room, closing your eyes. And if you notice, it still won't be complete uniform pitch blackness, right? Typically there'll be, if you look, there'll be something in there that will be different. Maybe some spots will be a bit lighter than others, or you might see some movements or an outline of something, or like one that I can basically bring up on command. I can't do it like immediately after closing my eyes, but once I kind of quiet my mind down, I can pretty much bring this up on command where I can see like a starry night sky type of scene where there's like little pinpoints of light. So basically just find something behind your closed eyes, lock your attention to it, hold it there as long as you can, and that is it. Now, if you're watching this, so say like you see like a soft diffuse spot, right? You can use that as your main place to be locking your awareness to. However, as you're looking at it, sometimes it will start to shift and change, and maybe it will disappear and another spot will become a little bit lighter. So you can change your object of attention as needed. And then also, when it goes, as you get deeper into it, sometimes you can start to get like movement in it. Or like, say if I'm looking at like the starry night sky, sometimes in the middle there'll start to be kind of like a darker spot, and it'll kind of can start to swirl. You can even make it swirl on purpose. I like to twist it to the left and to the right. Then as you get deeper into it, you actually start slipping into stage 1 of sleep full on. Like you can start like swirling. You can actually get like these physical sensations that go along with it. You kind of feel like you're spinning with it. It's not too dissimilar to say like if you're trying to do like a, I guess to consider it like an OBE technique, but you can like lie in bed as you're falling asleep, and you can kind of start to, what I'll do is I'll pretend like I'm tilting or like rolling in it, and then you can kind of roll out of your body, if you really get it well. But if nothing else, I just like to tip, and then when I feel myself tipping, even though I know I'm lying flat, I know I'm getting deeper into that state. And then also, as you get deeper into it, eventually like full-on images, so like these regular thoughts and stuff we have just popping up in the back of our head will start to kind of get like superimposed into the scene. But sometimes if you see it when it first pops up, it'll be just like a little spot. So say if I'm looking at like a soft diffuse spot and I kind of slip into this deeper state, an image will pop up in that spot and not be like full, covering up everything. But then as it gets deeper, eventually these images do start to cover everything. There can be movement involved into it as well. And actually a good way to kind of catch yourself, if when you start, you can help you catch yourself as you start to lose your lucidity or lose your awareness, is like just the other night I was lying in bed doing this as I'm going to sleep, and I was in this like watching this scene where like my wife was upstairs and she was helping the kids get ready for something. But as we're doing this, I know I'm lying in bed, I know she's right next to me, but then as I got kind of lost in it, I started to forget that she was really there, and I thought it was actually like really happening, and it was something I was seeing or witnessing like in the moment for real. And then I caught that and went, oh, wait a second. I know she's right here next to me. I got to pull my lucidity back together and, reestablish my awareness and consciousness. And actually a good way to kind of keep your consciousness intact, that I find at least, is trying to keep track of what's going on to document later, whether that be like in a dream journal, or like a lot of times for me, if I'm going to try to remember it for like to relate it in a video, that can go a long way at keeping, keeping your lucidity and conscious awareness intact. One other thing to watch out for is when you are looking at these spots, particularly in the beginning as the hypnagogia is building out, because as you get deeper, this pretty much won't be a problem anymore. But if you're looking too much with the real physical eyes, it can start to kind of stress your eyes out and kind of starts to feel uncomfortable. So in the very beginning, I find it's okay to kind of use your kind of real physical eyes to look for the spot that looks a bit different to lock your awareness to. But if you keep doing that, it starts to get uncomfortable and it kind of starts to be bothersome. So a good way to get around that is I like to think about it where you want to keep like a soft, diffuse gaze, where essentially, like for lack of a better term, you're trying to see with like your mind's eye, your third's eye. But I know like some of my buddies really hate it when I talk like that, but that's a really good term for it. But anyway, try to have like a soft gaze on it, or like a wide, kind of like a wide view, where it's similar to if you're doing like an open eye meditation, where say like you're looking at the wall or some object or something like that, where you don't want to keep it in really sharp focus, where you can kind of just like kind of blur your vision out, almost as if you're taking in like everything at once. Or another way to think about it is you could be looking at like the space in between, where you are and the wall is, to kind of get that kind of more wide, blurred out look. And another way you could think about it is like one of these old school magic eye books. You got to be like probably over 30 at least to remember these things. But these are basically like these images where you can kind of like either put it close to your face, pull it away, or kind of like cross your eyes and blur them out from far away, and it'll make the image either pop out or sink in. And I actually find that it's kind of similar to that. And also similar to that is, as my preferred method to do this, I typically will kind of just like pay attention to my breath, and not really on the visuals. I'm just like paying attention to my breath, but I'm watching what's happening behind my closed eyes, and I'm waiting for actual images. And this is more so than the starry night sky or soft diffuse light. I'm waiting for actually like these images that are popping up in my mind, not to come up as like full-on pictures, but then almost just like to notice something in there, and then it'll be like a shape pops out. It might be, might just be a shape, might be a face, it might be an object, it might be an actual like kind of like the outline of an entire scene, kind of more like what you might see in one of these. But that's kind of my preferred method. And then typically those won't last. Like, I'll kind of see there, I'll hold it as best I can for as long as I can. It will disappear. I'll wait a little bit, follow my breath, another one will appear, and then I'll just keep repping that out until actual images start coming out, and then it starts moving. And then, I'll catch myself thinking my wife really is upstairs with my kid and forgetting that she's here next to me. And then I gotta catch that, bring back my lucidity, and, keep it going. So anyway, I think that's it. If you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. This kind of is my shit over here, this whole hypnagogic work. And until then, keep your meditation practices and the lucid dreaming practice legit. Catman. Yes, buddy. One more thing I forgot to add in there that can be beneficial when you're learning the practice is to not be in a room that's blacked out, just to have some kind of natural light going on. Especially it's good if the light's kind of changing some. It just makes it makes the non-uniform pitch blackness that much more obvious and easier to see or notice. Like something that can work pretty good is you can lie underneath the window that's open and kind of have a curtain there that's blowing in the wind, so you're getting, different amounts of light hitting your face or coming into the room, which makes it just that much more obvious to find a spot to lock your awareness to, as you're starting to sink down deeper into the state. Something else you could do if you happen to have it, you can use like mind machines or light machines like the Casino or the Enkidu light or Pandora Star if you've got tons of money, right? Where it's flashing this light at your closed eyes. It gives you a nice obvious thing to lock your awareness to as you start to sink deeper down into that state. So yeah, give that a shot. And that's it.